movies, a true staple of cinema. So many people love that adrenaline rush that comes from being scared from a really intense film. Well, what about kids' horror movies? Yes, there's a whole subgenre that terrified kids. From Coraline to Monster House to E.T., there are plenty of PG-rated terrors for children to enjoy or cry during. But today we aren't talking about the classics. Today we are talking about a film that specifically traumatized me as a child. Yes, that's right. Let me introduce you to Bratz Sleepover Adventure. Chapter 1. The introduction. The movie starts off with how all direct-to-DVD kids movies started off in the 2000s with a painfully long intro credit scene. We see the girls walking to their friend's house with one of their dads just strolling behind with this empty wagon. And like, what's the point? Why does he have this wagon? And we see, instead of the iconic 4 Bratz, there's a 5th Bratz? Hello? And you're in your head like, who is this girl? And they're like, OMG, Megan! And you're like, who the hell is Megan? I guess I need to brush up on my Bratz lore. I'm sorry. So they arrive at their new friend Ginger's house, and their dad immediately just is like, okay, bye girls, have fun. And it's like, what was the point of even animating him into the intro credit scene if he was just gonna leave 2 seconds later? There's really no purpose to his character. So anyway, none of the girls know this new girl, Ginger, except for Sasha, who met her outside of an abandoned movie theater. And then Sasha decided she would invite all of her friends over to Ginger's house to have a sleepover, even though Ginger knew none of them. Which is like a crazy way to meet someone, by having a sleepover. I feel like sleepover rules were like, you had to at least be like a little bit friendly with someone before you slept over at their house, but I digress. Ginger invites everyone inside her house, and she reveals she's never had a sleepover before. Also, side note, her parents look like Jimmy Neutron, that's all. So the girlies have a little montage of things no one does at a sleepover, like braid hair and paint toenails. Where's the fighting over those pet shops because everyone wants to play with the cat with the hair sticking out of it? It's just not realistic. So the girls finally go to bed, and the mom is like, okay girls, you have to go to sleep now. And Ginger's like, okay mom. And the other girls look at her and they're like, we're not going to sleep. We're telling scary stories. And Ginger does not want to do this at all. She just wants to listen to her mom. She just wants to go to sleep, but the girls are not having it. Honestly, they're just really mean to Ginger throughout this entire film. Chapter 2, Sasha's story. So we begin with Sasha's story, and we're at this really poorly animated carnival. Yasmin, Sasha, and Megan are at this house of mirrors. Sasha can't stop looking at herself in the mirrors even though they're all distorted, and she talks about how her reflection is her best friend. Sasha is staring at herself so long she doesn't even notice that Yasmin and Megan have left because Yasmin got sick looking in the mirrors. So Sasha ends up stumbling behind a curtain and looks in a mirror titled Doppelganger. Yes, I think you see what's about to happen. So there's this painfully long scene where Sasha's doing something, and sometimes the doppelganger copies her and sometimes it doesn't, and Sasha doesn't notice till like 3 minutes into the story. So you're just stuck with this silent montage where you're like, girl, look in the mirror. So Sasha's doppelganger then grabs her by the neck and then escapes out into the real world, and Sasha chases behind her. And then we get a little montage of Sasha being chased around by her doppelganger and her doppelganger or causing trouble somewhere within the carnival. Sasha then goes back to the doppelganger mirror, where the doppelganger comes behind her and traps her into the mirror for all of eternity, saying if she likes looking in the mirror so much, she can just do it forever. And then it ends. A very dark ending for a kid's film. I guess the moral of the story is not to become obsessed with your reflection. Sasha ends the story by saying it's all true, and Ginger freaks out. And then everyone just ignores her and they tell her to like chill out. Great sleepover. Chapter 3. Chloe's story. So then Chloe like completely ignores all of Ginger's freaking, and she's like, okay, it's my turn to tell a story. They're terrible, terrible friends. And we start off our story with Chloe really wanting a puppy. And her parents are like really freaky looking, and for some reason her mom has this southern accent throughout the entire movie.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea. She can walk him and feed him
and no one else in this movie even has remotely close to a southern accent. So I'm left wondering, why did the actor make this choice? Where did this come from? And they're like, okay, you can have a puppy if you prove you're responsible. Go dog sit our neighbor's dog. And Chloe's like, yeah, I'm getting this puppy. Let me go dog sit the dog. So immediately she rushes over to her neighbor's house, where this mysterious voice comes out of the door and keeps saying, open the door. Open the door. Kind of like a old lady impersonation. So I guess more of like a, open the door. Moving on. But the door's locked. So Chloe keeps trying to open the door and she keeps saying it's locked, but the other voice is like, open the door. And this goes on for like 2 minutes. And just open the door, it's locked. Open the door, it's locked. Oh, it drove me nuts. But it turns out that wasn't the neighbor, because Chloe turns around and the neighbor's behind her and she's like, what are you doing? And Chloe's like, I'm here to dog sit your dog. And the neighbor runs full speed into the house, immediately opens the door and she's like, here's the dog. And you see this little tiny chihuahua with a muzzle on. And Chloe's like, why is there a muzzle? And the neighbor's like, whatever you do, do not take that muzzle off. But does Chloe listen? No, of course not. Why would she? And the dog immediately starts talking. And this dog's talking crap, saying like, why did my owner leave me with this brat? But Chloe doesn't really listen to the insults. She just hears that the dog is talking. She's like, oh my God, a talking dog. And immediately she's so excited and she rushes home and she tries to show her parents, but the dog refuses to speak. And the dog's like, no, I'm not speaking for your parents. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in a lab. Which is like, then why did the dog talk to Chloe? If you don't want to spend the rest of your life in the lab, why not talk to no one then? It just doesn't make sense. And then it's revealed that this dog is for some reason actually out to get Chloe and keep her from getting a puppy.
You are ruining my chances of getting a puppy.
That is correct, shorty.
So like the dog sneaks outside and he orders $60 worth of takeout food and he forces Chloe to sleep on the floor. Well, it turns out this dog is a sleep talker. And while he's asleep and Chloe's stuck on the floor, he reveals all of his deepest, darkest fears through his sleep talking. And Chloe's like, aha, I'm gonna get this dog out of my life. So Chloe does all the things the dog discussed in his dream, like giving him a bath and making him wear pretty pink clothes while going on a walk. And the dog's finally like, I've had enough. Just take me back home. And Chloe's like, okay, you're out. And her parents are like, you proved you're responsible. You get a puppy now. And then a mysterious steak pizza arrives at the door. The puppy can talk. And that's the end of Chloe's story. So that story is a pretty harmless, fun story. I personally always enjoyed it because I didn't fear for my life while watching that one personally. And all the other girls were like, Chloe, that wasn't scary. That was just funny. But Ginger is once again scared out of her mind. And then Ginger's mom busts in and she's like, okay, girls, you need to go to sleep. And Ginger's like, okay, we will. And then the girls fake sleep. And then Meghan immediately wakes everyone up. And she's like, I have a scary story to tell. And Ginger's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. My mom said we have to go to sleep. But the girls are not having it because that's just not how a sleepover works, Ginger. Thank you very much. These girls are never coming back after that night. Chapter 4, Meghan's story. So Meghan's story starts and we're back at the ugly carnival. She's waiting in line for some pie because all she's been thinking about all year is this pie that they only serve at the carnival, but the line's like super long. But then her big sister, who is bobbing, I mean like she has a bob, yoinks her out of line and she's like, where were you? You can't wander off. We're babysitting you. We're not waiting in line for pie. We just had lunch. But it is clearly nighttime outside. Who is having lunch at 8 o'clock at night? Someone please tell me. So she doesn't get her pie. And then she passes her favorite ride, the Riptide, which is like a water flume ride. And she's like, oh my God, can we please go on it? And her sister's like, no, the line is too long. We'll come back later so we don't have to spend all day waiting. And they go to the spinner, which if you've ever seen the spinner ride before, it goes like super, super fast to the point where gravity. So Meghan gets barfed on and has to put on an ugly clown shirt. And her sister, of course, makes fun of her for it because that's what older sisters do. It's really Meghan and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, if you will. Meghan decides she's going to sneak off and get herself some of that pie. So, of course, she cuts everyone in line and she's like, please, I need this pie. But this clown comes and cuts her and is like, thanks for the pie, takes it. And the pie guy's like, sorry. No more pie. And it's like, if you're this popular of a pie stand at the carnival and this is your only main source of revenue, you would think you would prepare more pie for your main event of the year. And the sister finds her again and she's like, you can't sneak off, Meghan. Let's go get some ice cream. Meghan's holding her ice cream and the clown bumps into her and knocks her ice cream off the cone. The clown is literally just the worst in this for no reason. Meghan is miserable. She wants to be left alone. Me and her are the same. But her sister's like, no, we're going to this magic show. And what follows is a very interesting voice acting performance.
Welcome to Senior Miracle's mysterious magical encounter. We need to summon Senior Miracle with a magical incantation.
I don't know if this is a choice of the director or the actor, but It was a choice. And Megan's absolutely miserable at this magic show. Like, she's heckling the magician mad. And the magician sees her and he's like, oh, you're volunteering? She rolls her eyes. She gets on stage and he puts her in this magic box. And he's like, when you open the door, we will all be gone. And she doesn't believe it. But sure enough, she opens the door and everyone is gone. And she's like, oh my God, I'm alone. This is great. And she eats 8 million slices of pie, and then she goes on the Riptide, her favorite water flume ride, but she gets stuck on it because there's no one operating it to get her off the ride. So she goes around and around and around like 6 times before she eventually figures out how to jump off. But it looks like it took her like 2 seconds to jump off. So why she didn't figure that out earlier, I don't know. And then this is where things start to get confusing because the clown starts appearing everywhere. And I thought she was entirely alone. So why haunted clowns are coming out from everywhere, I do not know. So she goes back to the magic box and she wishes herself back into the real world, and she opens the door again and everyone's back. And runs to her sister and she's like, oh my God, girl of a bob, you're the best sister in the world. You're my favorite sister in the world. I'm so sorry. And I guess the moral of that one is to love your family. Okay, story from Megan. I'll give her a solid C. Ginger is still not having it and she's like, we really, really need to go to bed. But the other girls are like, no, we're having fun, actually. And then all of a sudden they hear this mysterious noise and Ginger's mood changes. And she's like, okay, Yasmin, just tell your story, which is suspicious. Moving on, chapter 5, Yasmin's story. Our story starts with Yasmin begging her mom to buy her a charm bracelet because everyone at school has one. And her mom is like, no, they're just a fad. They're going to be gone in like a week. Besides, it's your friend Dana's birthday. You have to go buy her a present. It's better to give than receive. So you already know this one's going to be one big long moral once again. Like, this story is going to be a real doozy. Like one that they would tell in an elementary school fable day type of moral. So Yasmin is pissed because she wants this charm bracelet. So she takes the money her mom gave to her to buy Dana's gift. She uses it to buy herself a charm bracelet and uses leftover quarters to buy Dana a cheapo gift. And so Yasmin goes to the birthday party and you can tell she's like really guilty. And on top of that, Dana is like the nicest Bratz character ever created.
You're all so sweet. I feel like a princess.
And Dana opens her present from Yasmin and it's a vase? What 10 to 12-year-old wants a vase? But since Dana is the nicest character in this entire universe, she's like, oh my God, a vase. This is perfect. I can put a flower in it. But Yasmin, of course, still feels guilty because she bought the charm bracelet instead of getting her friend a nicer gift. Love the moral. So Yasmin comes back to school and she's like, look at my charm bracelet. And all of her friends are like, those are so out. And now jeans with drawings on them are the new in. And Yasmin's upset. And her mom's like, see? I told you charm bracelets weren't going to be popular forever. Aren't you glad you didn't buy one? Even though Yasmin clearly has it on her wrist and her mom just somehow has not noticed at all. And then Yasmin gets so upset that her charm bracelet's not cool anymore that we have a little merch plug for the Bratz Kids jewelry box. And they have a lot of zoom-ins and on the details of the jewelry box. And you see her very clearly open the drawer of Chloe's face on it and put her charm bracelet in it and then close it so you really understand the Bratz Kids jewelry box that you can buy right now at Walmart. But even though she put her charm bracelet away, it keeps appearing everywhere and it's haunting her. Also, side note, why does Megan have a moped? How rich are these girls? So the charm bracelet's haunting her, and at one point she throws it into the river and she's like, that's it, it's gone. But then it appears on her wrist again and she's like, I need to get rid of this. And so Yasmin has a mental breakdown, like you would. And her mom's like, why are you freaking out? Both you and Dana. Dana's mom just called me and said her vase broke and she's distraught. And Yasmin's like, I have the perfect gift for Dana. That's just evil, is it not? You have a haunted charm bracelet you're gonna pawn off to your friend you bought a vase for. So Yasmin goes to Dana's house and she's like, here, I was supposed to buy you something nice, but instead I bought this charm bracelet and now it's haunting me. Here's your present. And Dana's like, oh my gosh, a charm bracelet. I love it. And then Yasmin's like, and you'll never lose it. And the girls both laugh, but I'd be so pissed. Be so pissed if I got stuck with a haunted charm bracelet from my friend who bought me a vase of all things. So the story finishes and the girls hear the mom approaching again. So they all pretend to be asleep and the mom comes in, blows a kiss, and then just randomly leaves. Like, what was the point of her checking on them, I guess? I don't know. I'm not a mom. Then the girls wake up again and Jade's like, I have a story. And Ginger's like, no guys, please. I told my mom I'd go to bed. I'm so scared of these scary stories. I'm not having any fun. And the girls are mean. They threaten to tickle torture her if she doesn't let Jade tell her story. And Ginger, who's literally quivering in fear under her blanket, is like, fine, okay, she can tell her story. Chapter 6, Jade's story. Now, Jade's story is the one that gave me nightmares as a kid. There's something seriously sinister going on inside of Jade's brain. Jade, Chloe, Yasmin, and Sasha are at an amusement park, not the ugly carnival, thank God. They're waiting in line for a scary movie ride, and Jade is like, I'm not scared of this ride. Monsters aren't real. You guys are babies for being scared. And then Sasha and this random ride operator go, this boy went missing on this ride because he said he was not scared. The same will end up to you. And Jade's like, whatever. It's like, did no one investigate this missing boy? Where is he on this ride? How is this ride not shut down? So we start with these really long scenes of them on the coaster, and then just like 5 seconds of silence they forgot to edit out. And this coaster is like super long. Like I don't know what the wait times for this are long. Jade is a little scared, but she's playing it off cool, like, that's not even real, guys, and she's kind of ruining it for all the girlies. They arrive at this dragon's head that closes on them in the dark, and then Chloe's eyes start to glow in the dark, and Jade's like, oh my god, are you okay? But Chloe's completely silent. Jade doesn't notice, but all the girls' eyes start glowing in the dark, and Jade hears a noise, and she's like, Chloe, are you okay? And she goes to touch Chloe's hand, and it's a monster. All 3 of the girls have turned into monsters. So the monster grabs Jade, and all the monsters are about to attack her. So Jade jumps off the ride, and the monsters go to follow her. And these monsters are kind of ugly, let's be honest. And we have a little Scooby-Doo chase scene. Everyone loves a Scooby-Doo chase scene. Every kid's movie and their Scooby-Doo chase scenes. And then there's this really confusing part where the monsters just copy Jade's movements, and then they start dancing, and that somehow tricks them. I don't know, these monsters are kind of dumb. And so it ends, and the monsters are literally about to attack Jade. Like, they're literally about to attack this child when all of a sudden the Bratz magically reappear. And they're like, Jade, the ride's over. Jade, are you okay? Jade, I thought you said you wouldn't be scared. And they're teasing her, not knowing that she went through traumatic perils that rival The Shining, or another example, the movie Old. I give her story an A-. It made me scared. Chapter 7, the Bratz Sleepover Adventure ending explained. So they end up traumatizing poor Ginger and me, and Ginger's just begging the girls to go to sleep. But then they start bullying her and telling her she has to tell a scary story now. And then they hear more creaky noises, and Ginger freaks out even more. And they're like, Ginger, tell a story, tell a scary story, even though Ginger's clearly freaking out. And Ginger's like, fine. And she starts telling this story about 5 girls at a sleepover and having fun at a sleepover. And all the girls just start being so mean, and Sasha pretends to go to sleep, and they're like, this story's really lame. And Ginger's about to say something scary, but she just can't do it, and instead cries and runs out of the room, to which Megyan replies, that was kooky.
Kooky.
What? They are literally the worst friends anyone could ever have. And so they're like, was she actually scared? Guys, I think we messed up. Now you think you messed up? She was literally only crying and begging you to stop literally all night, but now you messed up? They all go out of the room to try and find her, but all the lights are off, and suddenly the house looks completely abandoned. Like, the rooms look really old, and all the furniture looks broken, and then they stumble upon a portrait of Dracula for some reason. He doesn't really have anything to do with the movie. He's just a portrait that's there. They decide, after seeing all this, they need to escape. So they leave the house, and the house has become completely abandoned. And there's a sign in front of it that says no trespassing. And they're like, we gotta get out of here. They first run into the neighbor with the talking dog from Chloe's story. And then they run into Sasha's doppelganger. And then they run into the clown from Megyan's story. And they're absolutely terrified of the clown, but they're just slightly annoyed at Sasha's doppelganger. Like, if it were me, I think it would be reversed. Sorry, I think seeing my doppelganger would be a lot more scary than seeing a clown. I don't know. Just me. And Megyan's like, okay, everyone, you can stay at my house. And they arrive at Megyan's house. And when they knock on the door, Ginger and her dad appear. And then they go to Chloe's house, and Ginger and her dad appear too. So they don't know what to do. So they're like, okay, we'll go to Sasha's house, because Sasha's parents are having a party. But when they arrive at the house, it looks abandoned. So they try the back door. They knock on the back door. Ginger and her dad appear again, but this time they faint. Why did they faint? Because the Bratz have become monsters. And then they say, strange things happen on a full moon. And that's how the movie ends. I've seen a lot of people confused about the ending with Ginger. So my theory 1 is that Ginger and her parents are ghosts who have transported the Bratz into a parallel universe. Or 2, that the ending of the movie is actually Ginger's scary story that she tells the girls. But let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're still here. In conclusion, on Letterboxd, which you can follow me on, no big deal, I gave this movie 2.5 stars. Don't boo me. The animation is just so outdated looking, and honestly, the director owes me money from the trauma he caused me and the years of nightmares. Yes, years of nightmares. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.